Ta-da! It's pretty funny. If you want to go out and buy a Nerf and Strike Elite Stryfe right now, good freaking luck. They're basically not on store shelves anymore, and they go in and out of stock on Amazon all the time. And that's weird for a blaster that is so ridiculously popular like the Stryfe. Some HVZers go in with a minimum of 2 Stryfes, some use more. It's basically the face of Nerf at this point. The Maverick was, the Stryfe is. And because of that, the Nerf and Strike Elite Stryfe has probably more accessories for it than any other blaster, sans maybe the Retaliator, which I still don't understand why the thing is so popular. And we've gotten a lot of really cool kits for them. A lot. If you have a real steel firearm, baby, that you want to kind of mimic in a Nerf blaster, the Stryfe probably has it, at least if it's like an SMG or a rifle. And that list is ever growing, because here we are in space year 2018, and here is a new kit. And of course, Bullpup kits are the fad right now. You had the Swordfish kit, which was released a couple of months ago, and now XSW has its own kit that it put out. I don't know if it has an official name, but it's a Nerf Tavor. Special thanks to nfstrike.com for sending this kit off to me to do a review on it. If you want to buy this kit yourself, and spoiler, you probably will, there's a link down in the description, at the top of the description, where you can pick one up yourself. This is also available on litake.com as well. And yeah, this thing is pretty. Starting off with the fact that this is the nicest 3D printed kit I have seen so far. If you just want to slap some IMRs in this thing, solder maybe 4 points, which is really, really easy and forgiving, and basically do no work whatsoever, this kit's got you covered. It is the nicest kit I have gotten so far when it comes to fundamentally changing the design of the blaster and doing unique stuff to that design, and then also looking flippin' sweet on top of that. Very good color separation with these parts right here. It's held together by pins in some places and screws in others. It is very, very good, with the highest quality 3D printed pieces I have gotten to date. The resolution is insane. You probably can't even tell it's 3D printed from the camera. That's not a joke. Maybe if you look in here, that one little spot, that is the only spot where there's any sign that this was 3D printed. It is flawless otherwise. It's Bullpup too. And did I mention that? It's a Bullpup. It has the magazine behind the triggers, which is awesome. And this mag release, I do have a worker extended mag release in here because you pretty much need it, but it's just so nice. And it's beautiful. This is one of my favorite things ever. I love Bullpups, I love the Raven, and this is taking a platform that we already know and love, with all the pieces that you could get for it, and then putting it into a Bullpup, and it's awesome. Obviously, the grip and everything for the original Stryfe is hidden by the stock back here, which makes it look a little big, and the rails are all Picatinny. They're not really going to work with your Nerf accessories, which is why I have this aim point on there right now. But other than that, it's really freaking nice. And this kit costs somewhere like, I don't know, 120 bucks, which is stupidly reasonable. And on top of that, it comes with the XSW full auto kit, like the one that I have in the Nerf Rust AK. Same kit. And that's its rate of fire on a 2S LiPo, which is not the fastest, but not the slowest. It's a very, very good rate of fire. I can get usually about 1 to 2 darts every single time, no problem. It is really, really good. And it comes basically pre-assembled, so it's got JST connectors that connect the grip to the full auto kit and everything like that. You really only have to solder the negatives, 1 positive wire, and then 1, I think it's like almost like a MOSFET kind of thing. I had it described to me by somebody much more clever than I am, that it's like a 1-way valve for electricity. It's on the end of one of the wires. You just solder that to the other end of the flywheel kit, and that completes the circuit, and it's good to go. It's good to go unless you want to use a LiPo. That's where the story gets ugly. That's why it's taken me so long to get this kit out. Because if you want to use a LiPo, this is a new challenge for you. If you don't like soldering, and you don't like taking things apart, and you're worried about breaking things, and you want to use this kit on a LiPo, for those experienced modders out there, it's gonna challenge you, I think, a little bit. Luckily, I can help, because I've already done this, but Some of these ideas may seem really obvious to you. They weren't obvious to me at the time, but when you wire this up this same way that you would think you'd do it with a LiPo, it doesn't work. That barb thing that they use for like the one-way valve electricity thing, I have no idea what it is. That thing just ruins everything, because it won't even rev if you use that. Now, when you remove that and just solder the bare wire back to it, complete the circuit, you can rev the blaster, but if you try to then fire the blaster, it will move really, really slowly. It won't fire. And then if you let off the rev trigger and you fire, it will run normally. Unlike every other Stryfe, which you have the rev triggers and stuff immediately after the battery, in this you don't. In fact, the rev trigger is after the flywheel cage, which doesn't seem like an issue, but the XSW kit, the way it's wired up, it's basically on one circuit. You have to have both circuits connected. You can't just have the flywheels connected for it to work. They're linked together. And then what happens when you're on a LiPo and you try to run this thing, you end up, when you're revving it, I think you're taking all the juice out of the system, because obviously those flywheels, those motors use a lot of energy, and there's not enough left for the pusher kit, which has to go all the way back and then go to the battery. It doesn't work. So, I tried just about everything, and to make this work with the LiPo, you have to do two things. One, you have to separate the circuits. You need to make two individual circuits, which means a lot more wiring. That's a shame, because it works almost flawlessly on, like, you know, low-powered batteries, low-powered motors and stuff like that, but if you're going bigger, it's a pain. And then you have to redo all the wiring they already had, and that means taking this thing apart, which is not a fun process. In fact, even finding the screws for it is a bit of an issue, and I still couldn't even figure out how to get this rev trigger out without completely pulling it out and probably ruining the entire thing. Luckily, I managed to get it to work, but that doesn't mean it was a good experience. And after all the work that I put into it, is this blaster worth putting together? Obviously, I have the blue kind right here. It also comes in a more military beige and black, and then also comes in an orange and gray and black as well if you have an orange Stryfe, or this pretty blue thing, which means I get to use a blue Stryfe, which are becoming quite rare. Yes, definitely. For 130 bucks for how much material you get, the fact that it comes with a full auto kit and it's a no-brainer. I seriously think this is one of the nicest blasters I have gotten my hands on. It is exceptionally comfy. It comes built in with this really nice quick disconnect single sling point, which works perfectly. It does make your Stryfe twice as big, but even just having, that's the perfect spot for a mag release. It's not too far back like on the Crossbolt or even the Raven. It's in the perfect spot. It is exceptionally comfortable. This blaster is friggin' amazing. And if you were doing it with IMRs on a stock cage, again, the wiring is really, really, really simple to do. I wanted this to run off a 2S LiPo because I'm using the Fang revamped motors, so yeah, it was a lot harder. And for those of you that are going to go that route, I hope you have a vague idea of what you're doing, and I know you're probably asking for a build guide. However, if you need a build guide and can't follow what I've been saying, this is not the kit for you. If you buy this and you want to run it off a LiPo and get that top tier performance, and you don't understand what I'm talking about, and you don't know a lot about wiring, you're not going to have a good time. Now, I stand by the notion that anything I can do, you can do at home. I am not a very clever man, and yet I was able to get this thing up and running. It took me a while to go, oh, hey, wait, maybe I should just split the circuits, then that would probably fix the problem. And it took me a while to get to that point, and I did it, and it worked. Other people was like, why didn't you just do that to begin with? I don't know, I didn't think about it. I even contacted Hawkeye 007 and Michelle from Phone Blast, and neither of them suggested that. But it works. It looks good. I love it. I'll be running it in this next war. I'll be running it hopefully in many wars to come. And I highly, highly recommend it. It's a no-brainer at this point. For all the like 3D printed parts that I've received, these are bar none the best. It doesn't even look 3D printed. The design is well done. Maybe the only complaint I have is that there's a lot of surface area right here where I could put a vinyl decal, and I will, but there's just so many parts where it just needs some kind of detail on it, and it doesn't have that. That's my biggest issue. But the way this kit is designed, the way it locks together, the way everything works, it is gorgeous. It is nearly flawless, and I can't recommend it enough. This is an amazing kit that XSW has put together. It works flawlessly with the pre-existing products, and it works for a blaster that most people who are nerfing can find and have multiples of. Even if you can't find them off, like, you know, Amazon or in stores, there's plenty of them on eBay, maybe for a little bit higher prices, but what you get is this. And this is far better than a full auto Raven will ever be. And if you wanted to paint it, you already have this beautiful color separation right there, making it really easy for you to paint without having to really mask off anything. It just makes it the best. It's so good. And yes, it still works with drums and everything. It's actually really nice because your arm kind of rests perfectly on it. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. Seriously, if you want to pick one of these things up, there is a link down in the description where you can pick this up. I am, I'm a big fan. Well done, XSW. And thank you very much to NF Strike again for sending this off to me and making it available to all of us really, really easily. Let me know what you think about the XSW Tavor kit down in the comments section below. I'm really interested to get your feedback. I think it looks freaking sweet. I think it performs well. But of course, I want your feedback as well to know if I'm on the same wavelength you guys are. I'm Walcom. Thank you very much for watching this video. And of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one. I'm gonna go find something to shoot. Brad!